Hey guys, Tuesday. Roz is officially home on the island. What do you think about that? This whole book has been about her making her way all the way back home. Remember, we started at the very, very beginning. Remember, Roz left in the airship after the Ricos attacked her on her island. And the very beginning of the book, chapter 1, started with the city. And the whole book has been about Roz trying to get home and venturing her way back to all her family and friends on the island. And we are there, chapter 87, The Homecoming. The airship's door hummed open, and our robot stepped outside. Everything was still and silent. But Roz knew hidden animals were watching, and she greeted them with a mighty roar. Animals of the island, I have returned. I may look different, but I promise you, I am your old friend, Roz. Her words boomed across the island, but the only response was her own voice echoing back. The wild robot needed to be wilder. So she reached down and started smearing handfuls of mud across her body. Then she pressed clumps of weeds and flowers into her muddy coating until she looked more like her old, wild self. Brightbill fluttered out from the airship and perched on Roz's shoulders. He shook his tail feathers and squawked, "It's true! This robot is my mother! Come see for yourselves!" Silence. And then bushes began to rustle. Faces began poking out from the trees. Animals began scurrying and trotting and flying into the meadow. At first, they moved cautiously, confused as to how this new robot could be their old friend. But they saw her wild appearance and they heard her wild voice, and news began spreading across the island. Roz was back. A crowd of friendly creatures gathered around our robot. There was Brightbill's flock, and the beaver and the deer families, and Fink the fox, and Swooper the owl. Bears came looming down from the hills, and fish jumped up from the ponds, and vultures circled above. Even the nocturnal creatures crawled out from their burrows into daylight to join in celebrations. Oh, how good it feels to return from a long journey and find your friends and family waiting for you. But reader, sometimes we return to find things that aren't exactly as we left them. As you know, the wilderness can be a harsh place, and while Roz was away, it had claimed its share of her friends. The robot saw the raccoons Lumpkin and Bumpkin, but not Rumpkin. Nor did she see Broadfoot the moose or Dig Down the groundhog. Other creatures were missing as well. And so, like many of our homecomings, this one was bittersweet. Chit-Chat the squirrel came bounding through the grass, chattering on as usual. I always knew you'd come back to us, Roz, and I never imagined you'd gain so much weight, although I guess I gained a little weight myself. You'll all have to tell me all about all of your adventures when you get a chance. I'm sorry for talking so much. I'm just so excited to see you again. Geese and beavers and deer and fish and squirrels and owls and bears and turtles and otters and raccoons and woodpeckers and opossums and moose and foxes and every kind of creature from every corner of the island were coming to welcome back their dear friend Roz and Brightbill. And watching it all from the airship was Dr. Malovo. All right, you guys. So the thing that really stuck out to me when I was reading this chapter was the fact that Roz had been away from her friends and her family for quite a long time, and she had adventures all on her own. She'd done her own thing, and they were probably doing their thing back on the island in their environment, and they'd been away from each other with really no way at all to communicate, right? Except for Brightbill maybe flying back and forth, and the other migratory geese letting the island know that Roz was okay. But other than that, they haven't really been in contact with each other. And that kind of made me feel a little bit like what we're doing right now with our quarantine and social distancing. That we're all kind of in our own environments, doing our own things. Some of us are on an island or in the mountains or in a city or in the countryside. We're all in our own different environments that Roz has been a part of throughout her journey. And we don't know what each other's doing. So today, our assignment for the Wild Robot Escapes is I want you guys to write a letter to our class. So our friends in our class, about your experience kind of while social distancing in quarantine. Something that maybe you guys have been doing, maybe a new hobby you've picked up, something really fun you've learned about your family. Because just like Roz has all her exciting stories to tell her friends back on the island, her friends on the island like chit chat, and all of them have stories to tell Roz too. So I want you guys to write a story to our class about the things you've been doing while we've been away and apart from each other for your adventure, and then we'll share those stories with each other in one of our group chats. So write your stories. I want at least 5 to 7 sentences. You can type it out. You can have your family help you type it out as well. But I want you guys to tell me about maybe a new hobby, a new food you've tried, or maybe something interesting you've watched or you've learned or anything like that. So can't wait to read those. And I will see you guys tomorrow.